Let's start with you have 3 NFL games this week. You have more than usual. There's a lot you like in the National Football League. Let's start with the game on Monday night. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is getting 4 points. Eagles are 10-3 overall. They just lost 2 in a row to the Niners and the Cowboys. They're 7-4-2 against the spread. The Seahawks are 6-7. They lost their last 4 games. They're 7-5-1 against the spread. Bear, what do you got here?
I like the Eagles in this game. I know it's the end of the world with how poorly the Eagles have played the last couple of weeks, have been able to get a stop. But there's a real good chance this is Drew Lock. And I think that obviously will help the Eagles defense. I don't think the Seahawks offensive line will be able to have as much success as the Cowboys and Niners did in previous weeks, blocking that Eagles front. As bad as things were for the Eagles, I mean, how many red zone turnovers did they have? How many points did they ultimately leave on the field? Like, the score was it was ugly, but I don't think in watching the game, it was as ugly as maybe the scoreboard indicated. So I think this is a really good chance for the Eagles to get right. Like, usually Monday night road favorite is not something that I ever actively seek out to bet, but I do think we may have gone a little too far with calling. Look, I don't think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, but at the same time, I don't think they're absolute should be written off. I think the way they've been written off right now. So I do like the Eagles minus the 4 against Seattle, who hat tip Will Hill 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, when he pointed out the Seahawks had missed the playoffs at plus money. Now the Seahawks have missed the playoffs, I think, around minus 350 or so.
For the Eagles, it probably feels nice to not have to play the Bills, Chiefs, Niners, or Cowboys in the game. It must feel nice to not have to play those teams, right? I think that's, look, the Eagles' defensive struggles are real, but they've also played some really good offenses the last month. Seattle's not that really good offense. No. And they've had their moments. I mean, they scored against the Cowboys, but without Geno there, it's just not the same offense. And so I like the Eagles to bounce back. And that's why extra day of rest for them, which I think is super important because of their schedule, getting 1 more day to rest, 1 more day to recover. And they're a veteran team. They'll bounce back. I like the wager here for the Eagles. Also pandering to our producers, also a very smart thing to do, taking the Eagles here as well. All right, let's go to your second game. This one's Saturday. It's the Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 3 at home. Minnesota is 7-6. They're taking on water a little bit, though. They benched Josh Jacobs for Nick Mullins. The Vikings are 7-4-2 against the spread. The Bengals are 7-6. They've won 2 straight games with Jake Browning looking like Joe Montana out there. They're 6-1 against the spread. Bear, what do you got?
This is, I think you're gonna find the theory of zigging when zagging with my plays this week. There really isn't much reason that you can point to liking the Vikings with how poor their offense looked at that game against the Raiders this past weekend. But you now make the full-time change with a full week of knowing that it's going to be Nick Mullins. The defense has played really well this year. And man, this is the Bengals have won the last couple of weeks. Browning's been great. But at the same time, this is still a team that lost 16-10 to the Steelers a couple weeks ago. So I pumped the brakes just a little bit on the Bengals. And I think 3.5, I think, is gone. So for the column here, I had to take 3. I did take the Vikings plus 3.
I've mentioned this many times throughout the season. I think it's worth mentioning again with this game. The NFL is the best sport of humbling you when you're sort of at the top and you don't sort of deserve to be there quite yet. Jake Browning has played 2 straight really good games. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the good games. He's played well. Last week was a lot of screen passes, though. It wasn't a lot of yards were on the screen passes. And they've called a great game plan, Zach Taylor, the last couple of weeks. But sort of when you're at that top, it goes off quickly, right? And this is one of those games where the Vikings haven't played as well, just won 3-0. And the Bengals are flying high, and it's like no one's on the Vikings in this game. Also worth mentioning, you mentioned the Vikings defense, guys, has played really well this year, and they played well against a lot of times inexperienced quarterbacks or young quarterbacks. Jake Browning is still inexperienced. He's been in the NFL for a couple of years, but hasn't played a lot of football games. So Vikings plus 3, I think, is the way I take this game as well.
Bear Bets full episodes drop twice a week right here on the Bear Bets YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to stay ahead of the odds, and let's celebrate all of our wins together.